In this video, we're going to talk about what those gurus on TikTok and Instagram don't tell you about real estate investing. It seems like everyone likes to talk about the best parts about real estate investing, but what I find is not too many people talk about the downsides and what to look out for and mistakes to avoid. So that's what this video is about. Recently, I came across this post from one of my colleagues, and she said that she invested her money into a couple different real estate partnerships, and the partnerships weren't doing too well. In fact, there were a lot of repairs that were unexpected, and she was expected to put in more money into the project. And if she doesn't put in more money, unfortunately, it jeopardizes the money she already invested with them. So this is something that I see actually happen more often than I would like to see. And it's because a lot of these people who are new to real estate investing are a little bit naively optimistic. They overestimate the cash flow that you could be making on a property, and they underestimate the operating expenses and repair costs. So the very first thing I'm going to tell you about the realities of getting started in real estate investing is that you have to be extremely patient, because real estate is not a get-rich-quick scheme. In fact, it usually takes 5 to 8 to 10 years before you start seeing exponential growth in your real estate portfolio. But at the beginning, year one, a lot of times you might just break even, or you might even lose money. In fact, it's pretty unusual to actually be cash positive in the very first year that you invest. Now, with that being said, of course, if you follow a specific strategy and hire a mentor, a lot of times you can make sure that you are profitable in year one. But just know that it's not guaranteed, because there are a lot of unexpected things that can happen to a real estate investment, which we'll go over thoroughly in this video. So what are some key challenges that you might face when investing on your first property? The first challenge is you really have to know and understand your numbers, specifically your rental income, your mortgage payment, and your typical maintenance expenses. When you take that rental income, subtract out your mortgage payment and maintenance expenses, that is what your cash flow is. Now, I have some colleagues who they didn't run the numbers and they end up with negative cash flow on year one, which is not good because that means the investment is taking money out of your pocket every single month. We want the opposite. We want the investment to be putting money into your pocket every single month. So you'll need to really understand how to figure out these numbers. The first one, the rental income, you can go to rentometer.com to estimate what a typical rent is around that area for that particular house. Now, if you're renting by the bedroom, which is something that I do, you can instead go to Facebook housing groups and see what typically people are paying or advertising rooms for rent for. Then you take that number and multiply by the number of bedrooms that you have available, or the number of bedrooms that you are able to put into the property. So that's how you calculate the rental income. The next part is the mortgage payment. The best way to calculate a mortgage payment is to get a loan estimate from a lender on a specific house. What you do is you tell the lender, hey, I'm trying to buy this $330,000 house. Here are my financials. Based off of this, what's my estimated monthly mortgage payment? And usually they'll tell you, oh, it's going to be about $1,500 a month, $2,000 a month, etc. And then finally, I usually estimate at least $250 to $300 per month in monthly maintenance expenses that goes towards just maintaining the house. That could be landscaping, fixing broken appliances, fixing water leaks, eventually replacing the roof, HVAC, etc. So you really have to get clear cut on what those numbers are. Let's say your rental income is $4,000 and your mortgage payment is $2,000 and your monthly expenses is going to be $300 for maintenance. Well, then you just take $4,000 minus $2,000 minus $300, and that means that your monthly cash flow will be about $1,700 per month. So once you know that your cash flow is going to be positive, the second biggest challenge is making sure that you have really trustworthy handyman and contractors ready on standby to make any repairs that come up soon after you close. Because trust me, as soon as that first tenant moves in, you're going to have problems that just pop up. It could be broken appliances, hot water not working. It could be the bathroom has a mold problem, etc. So what I'll do is I'll talk to my realtor and ask them for a list of contractors that I can contact who are reliable and have lots of years of experience. And what I'll do is I'll contact those contractors and ask them for 2 or 3 references, people that they've worked with in the past. And then I call those references and I'll ask them a few questions. I'll ask them, what's the scope of work that that contractor has done for you? Basically, what type of work has that contractor done? And then I'll ask them, have they finished that work or that job on time? Did they finish on their initially estimated budget? And then, of course, would you use them again? If that reference says, oh yeah, they were on time, on budget, etc., then everything checks out. I'll give that contractor the good to go to work on my property. Now, let's say that contractor had difficulty meeting their timeline, or maybe they did something like a change order and it doubled the price of the initial project. Well, then I might be a little bit hesitant or cautious with using that contractor and picking them. Once you have your contractors and handymen on standby, which you should do before you close on the house, by the way, so that you're not scrambling to get people into the house to make the renovations or repairs, the third challenge I would say people have is customer service. You have to realize when you're in real estate, you are in a service-based business. You are providing a service for somebody else. You're putting your roof over their heads. So naturally, you have to be relatively decent with customer service and serving people. What I recommend is make sure you have a professional attitude and never let emotions get in the way. If they yell at you, it is not okay to yell back. You have to realize that sometimes people get upset, and if you put yourself in their shoes, you might be upset as well. So stay focused on what can you do to really solve the issue at hand. And of course, there's that saying that the customer is always right. I honestly don't think that is true in 100% of cases, but you should always approach the situation with a how can I help you attitude. Make sure to always respect them as a person and do your best to really address their concerns and find the root of the problem. And if you don't have any experience doing customer service, honestly, you can just study some of the top companies out there. You can go to your local Apple store, for instance, and just study the employees there, how they treat their clients. And when you ask for help, what are the steps that they take to make sure you feel comfortable and that you feel supported as a customer? All right, now for the fun part. A lot of people worry about the hidden costs of real estate investing. And there are definitely hidden costs that you should be aware of because they can definitely occur at your property, no matter where you buy a property. The first biggest costs you should watch out for are related to water damage. Water leaks and sewage line breaks or backups are some of the most common issues that cost a lot of money for the real estate investor. They can cost from a couple thousand to tens of thousands of dollars. Think about it this way. When there is a leak in a pipe, it's usually behind one of the walls or it's underneath the floorboards. Not only do you have to remove the wall or the flooring in order to get to that pipe to find out where it's leaking, you also have to replace that pipe. And a lot of times by then, the water has seeped through the wood and damaged the wood. If the wood is damaged and warped, you probably have to replace the wood as well, which can cost a couple $1,000s. So you can see how water damage can add up really quickly. That's why I recommend training your tenant to report any water leaks as soon as possible. Make sure you have a plumber on hand, and a lot of times I'll even get a plumbing inspection on the house to see the current state the water pipes are in. Now, there will also be like simple, smaller repairs that need to be made, such as broken appliances, doors that are not fitting in their door frames due to something that we call settling, general housekeeping type issues. Sometimes the tenants will not be very clean, so you might have to order a maid cleaning service on a quarterly basis or annual basis. I know some people who even provide it monthly. And of course, you have landscaping costs as well. Now, the final thing that a lot of people don't anticipate is pest control. I would say every single year I have to do some sort of pest control. Usually it's cockroaches or rats, but occasionally you could have termites as well. The thing with termites is you usually do a pest inspection before you buy a house that checks specifically for termites to make sure that that is resolved before you purchase the property. So usually I end up paying anywhere from a couple $100 to a couple $1,000, depending on if I'm having the pest control come out on a monthly basis or just as a one-time thing. So those are basically the smaller repairs that might need to be made on a house. I would say if you are worried about large repairs, you always want to concentrate on the big 6 items. We have the plumbing and the sewage line, which we talked about earlier. Then we also have the HVAC, electricals, the roof, and the foundation of the house. Usually those are the items that are going to cost you the most amount of money. So what you want to do during the inspection phase of buying the property is you want to make sure that these items are not near the end of their life and make sure that they're in working condition. So that's it. That's what gurus don't tell you about real estate investing on social media, but you should be aware of before you get started with investing into real estate. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you do, please make sure to like, subscribe, and share with your friends who are struggling with getting started into real estate investing so that I can reach more people. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you on next week's video.